All right, welcome to a new episode of the Opening Bid Unfiltered podcast. I'm Yahoo Finance Executive Editor Brian Sozzi. Like I always say, this podcast will make you a smarter investor, period. And we're going to have a little fun here. Not that we normally don't, but we're really going to have some fun here. And you're going to become a smarter investor, smarter business person, maybe just smarter about life. Here is, with me, is Wikipedia co-founder Jimmy Wells. Jimmy, good to see you.
Good to be here. Thank you.
I don't have a Wikipedia page. And I was researching this. I'm like, I don't know, maybe I should have one.
Well, I mean, all your viewers, all your listeners, they can get started editing, yeah.
Well, it's good to see you here. I think, millions upon millions of people, billions of people have used Wikipedia. What is the site of today? Like, what are the numbers behind the platform?
Yeah, so, well, we see over 2 billion unique devices every month, which isn't necessarily 2 billion people, but, you know, because a lot of people see it on their phone and their desktop. But it's huge, and you know, tens of billions of page views every month. We're in over 300 languages all around the world, so it's truly global in a way that most things aren't. So it's an amazing thing.
How involved are you with it now, day to day?
Pretty involved. You know, I'm on the board and I work with the community all the time. I'm traveling, speaking about Wikipedia a lot. I'm personally leading a neutral point of view working group within the community, within the foundation, looking at neutrality, how do we strengthen our neutrality policies and all of that. So yeah, it keeps me pretty busy.
Can you believe how far the platform has come?
Yeah, I mean, it is amazing, but I always say I'm a pathological optimist, so I always thought it was going to be big, and now it turns out it's big. But no, it's really incredible. You know, when I travel and I go places and see people using Wikipedia in you know, I went once to a school in a slum in Dominican Republic, and all the kids were on Wikipedia, and I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I never thought of that. That's incredible. So yeah, it's amazing, the reach.
It has become a utility.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely part of the infrastructure of the world in lots of ways. You know, obviously, you know, when people are searching and you know, they find Wikipedia and they're reading it, but also training large language models. All the major large language models really heavily depend on Wikipedia as a starting point or a big major component of the knowledge that they have. So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Do you still have volunteer editors editing all the work?
Oh yeah, it's all volunteers. You know, everything you see on the website, including, you know, choices about what goes on the front page and things like that, that's all done by the community. You know, the Wikimedia Foundation, which is the charity that I set up that runs Wikipedia, you know, they're involved in a lot of different things, software development and all of this and that, but they're not actually deciding the content, right? That is really an open, democratic process.
How do you explain volunteer editors? Like, how does that come about? How do you keep how are these folks motivated? Who are these people?
Yeah, I mean, a big part of it is, you know, we always, you know, to get trust, give trust. So we trust people. The whole site is very trusting. It's very open. Anybody can come and click edit and make a change. Who are the volunteers? They tend to be quite geeky, quite, you know, nerds like me, and you know, they're not particularly political. They really are. They're very different from, say, social media influencers and people like that. They just are, like, oftentimes obsessed with a particular topic. I don't know, it might be bridges or, you know, Chinese history, who knows what, you know. And they just love to share what they know and to learn by meeting other people who are interested in the same topics.
So what you're saying is they may not be interested in business news TV hosts such as myself.
Maybe not.
I still have a page.
Well, actually, it is interesting because sometimes I do find, like, sometimes our coverage of companies is a lot less than it could be. So obviously we cover all the famous consumer companies because our community would know about them, but there are big B2B companies. You know, I remember I was doing a speech once, and it was to the Flexible Packaging Association. These are the companies that make cans and things like that. And several of the big companies there was no Wikipedia page, even though they've got 12,000 employees, and, you know, and it's because, well, they're not in the media much. Nobody pays much attention to them. But yeah, so it's sort of funny how this is why we need a real diversity in the community of different kinds of people with different interests. Because that's how you get more content and better content across all the areas of knowledge.
I should mention, of course, your new book, what, 7 Rules of Trust?
Yeah, the 7 Rules of Trust. So just coming out tomorrow. So it's
Congrats.
exciting, yeah.
Congrats. You mentioned social media influencers. What do you think of them? Because when Wikipedia launched, they weren't out there. And if they were out there, they were on message boards or AOL chat rooms or AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's amazing. I mean, obviously, in the earliest days, I would say it was bloggers. That was sort of, everybody was all about bloggers and blogging. And I used to say, well, the Wikipedians are different from bloggers. They're not, they're not trying to put their opinions out and things like that. I think it's great if people got opinions and they want to put them out and defend them and have a vibrant, healthy discussion in society. I think that's fantastic. Yet, some of the platforms are so toxic that I think we're not really getting a great sort of dialogue and discourse. We're just getting people yelling at each other, so I don't think that's particularly helpful. I think maybe we should go back to blogging. That was actually pretty good. And then, there's all kinds of fun stuff. I mean, I like funny stuff online too, but it's not what we do.
Do you view, is X the most toxic? Is Instagram? How do you see the world of the internet evolving? Or it's evolving, right as we sit at this table, it's evolving.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would be hard to top X for being toxic. I mean, it's pretty horrific. But yeah, I mean, I think all these platforms have their strengths and weaknesses. I mean, the thing about X, I still go on X and I have some friends on there and there's interesting people and things like that. And then there's a lot of angry nonsense. Similarly, I like Instagram. I don't go on all that much, but I like to post pictures of the food I cooked and things like that for my friends. And, so all of it's a bit of a mixed bag. I think it could all improve, and I think it will improve. I think the competitive pressures are such. Certainly, it seems that the advertisers are not too happy with the direction that X has taken, and that will eventually lead to there being an opportunity for somebody.
Has X just gotten so big and so powerful that it can't be fixed?
I don't think so. I mean, I remember when there were sort of a feeling that MySpace was invincible because it had, it's sort of like the network externalities and the effects, like everybody's on MySpace, so you have to be on MySpace and so on. Completely gone now. So, these things can change. New things can rise and old things can go away, and you have to do a good job because it's a very competitive marketplace.
You've known and conversed with Elon Musk in the past. Have you been able to make suggestions to him, or that's not how your conversations go with him?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest advice to Elon is, you remember that electric car idea? That was a pretty good idea. You should go back to the electric car thing. Like, stop all this political nonsense. Just, that's an amazing area. So.
Where do you, in terms of, your book, 7 Rules of Trust, how is social media continuing to create a crisis of trust?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that social media is a big part of the problem. When we have algorithms that reward people for being divisive and angry and just having huge quarrels and so forth, that slightly addictive nonsense, that isn't really contributing in a positive way to finding a way forward. Like, how do we trust each other? How do we say, oh, you and I disagree on something politically, but we need to listen to each other. We need to find a way forward. We need to find compromise, or we need to learn from each other. And social media can be about that, of course, but if it's just toxic screaming, that's not good to anybody.
How do you, there's been views from left and right on Wikipedia sharing views on this and views on that. Like, is the platform biased? And how do you keep that from happening in this world?
So our fundamental core rule above all others is neutral point of view is non-negotiable. Now, that just saying it doesn't make it true, obviously, but it is something that the community is very committed to. And so when I look into Wikipedia and I'm looking at various articles, well, I'm just the type of person, I'm like, oh, we could always do better, right? And so if there are cases where people say, well, this area seems biased, I think our answer shouldn't be, oh, no, of course, it's perfect, it's great. No, because no, of course it's not perfect. And of course, we need more help. So one of the things that I find unfortunate is if Elon Musk attacks us as being Wokepedia and acts like we've been taken over by...
Which he's done, he has.
Oh yeah, Wokepedia, he loves to call us that. But, we haven't been taken over by left-wing activists at all. But if he's signaling to kind and thoughtful conservatives that Wikipedia is not going to be welcoming to them, that doesn't help us. And if he's signaling to sort of crazy left-wing woke activists that Wikipedia is their new home, then we have to deal with them, and that those people do exist, and so forth. What we really want is for people of goodwill of all kinds who can understand how we have an open system that's built on trust and living up to other people's trust in you as you're working in Wikipedia. You know, bring a good quality source, make a reasonable argument, don't attack other people. Those are our values, and those are the things that have contributed to Wikipedia being as successful as it is. And you know, hopefully we should just double down on that and say, well, that seems to be the heart of what people love about Wikipedia, so we should stick to that.
Trust has really gone down, I mean, for lack of better words, the toilet the past decade. Trust in politicians, trust in society, trust in institutions. How do we go about building the groundwork to getting trust back?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is what the book is all about, is to say, look, we've seen this decline in trust. It's been longer than the last 10 years. It's actually a longer term trend than that. And there are some basics. You know, one of the things that we look at, we do a couple of great case studies in the book of companies who had a crisis of trust. So Airbnb had a huge crisis in their early days, and they did some really basic things. There's a lot of things, you know, like transparency in your organization, admitting when you've gotten something wrong. Like, that's super for building trust. And too often, you know how at Wikipedia will have a little notice at the top of a page sometimes that says, the neutrality of this article has been disputed. Well, you'd think, well, doesn't that undermine trust? No, it builds trust, because people are like, oh, hold on, like, great, I mean, glad you warned me, like, that's actually useful. And so, you know, this is what the 7 rules are all about, is just saying, okay, let's talk, and I talk to academics and so forth, people, you know, what are the things that we can do in our organizations, in our personal lives, to build trust? And some of it's, you know, kind of kindergarten ethics, you know, like one of the chapters is your mother was right, you know, about civility. Like,
I'm not giving my mom the benefit of the doubt. I know she's an avid watcher of this. I'm sorry, Mom. Sorry. Hang with us, Jimmy. We're going to go off for a quick break. We'll be right back on Opening Bid Unfiltered. All right, having a fun chat here with, well, I should say, welcome back to Opening Bid Unfiltered here at the NASDAQ in Times Square. Love being here at the NASDAQ in Times Square. Having a fun chat here with Wikipedia founder Jimmy Wales. Someone you don't get to talk to very often, but we're probably on his site numerous times throughout the day. I know I very much am. I want to talk about AI, but I want to quickly go back to what you mentioned about Elon. When he comes out publicly and calls you Wikipedia, what happens to the activity on your platform?
I mean, in terms of our community of volunteers, very little. I mean, we're just writing our encyclopedia and we just carry on. The day he said defund Wikipedia, we had a massive surge of donations. So I'm like, you know, bring it, Elon.
Well, that's one way to raise money. I mean, you don't take ads on the site, right?
We don't have ads, and you know, it's not our favorite way to raise money, but it's fine. You know, at the end of the day, what we believe, you know, it's one of the great, you know, well, one of the 7 rules of trust is independence. Like, we've really designed things to have intellectual independence. So we don't get any money from governments. That's important. We don't have, you know, we're not funded by billionaires or major corporations. They do contribute some. It's much appreciated. We're not anti that. But the vast majority of the money is from ordinary people saying, here's my $20. And the appeal that really works the best for people is really that reciprocity appeal, another sort of trust thing, which is, you know, you use Wikipedia all the time, you should probably chip in. And I think a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that actually makes sense. It's kind of great that it's free, but I love it and I should just chip in. So because of that, then our community, you know, we're not under pressure from anybody, Elon Musk or the government or anybody, because, well, we just ignore them. It's fine. We're just going to keep on doing our thing.
Why'd you come up with that nonprofit business model, and has it been hard to stay the course? I imagine somebody wanted to put an ad on your site, try to generate revenue in some capacity in a partnership.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's been pretty straightforward. I mean, in the early days, it seemed right to me. I would say, you know, early in my career, early when we were a nonprofit, I would get journalists who thought, oh, you must be some sort of communist or something. Are you against people making profit? No, I love profit. I love companies, right? It's great. Just Wikipedia, to me, it's like a library or a museum. It's like a temple for the mind, I say. And it's really volunteer driven. So all these volunteers are really pouring their heart into making this as good as it can be. And also has helped us resist all kinds of pressures on the content. In other words, we're not worried about, oh, what's an advertiser going to think? Are we going to, this, that, and the other? We just think, oh, let's just make the best encyclopedia we can for each other, for the world. So it's worked out really, really well for us. And yeah, and I do think it's part of the trust behind Wikipedia.
You've stayed the course with this business model over, what, decades now?
Yeah, 25 years this year.
Congratulations.
In January, it'll be 25 years.
That is absolutely amazing. Now, Sam Altman at OpenAI, he is at the crossroads of his business model. Do you stay, a nonprofit, or do you make profit? It's clear that he wants to start making money from this business over the next 5 to 10 years. What do you think about the decision that he's up against?
Well, I mean, it's very complicated because, I mean, one of the differences is what Wikipedia requires to operate, database, servers, bandwidth. The truth is, it's not that expensive not in the global sense, right? Probably our expenses are lower than any other top 25 website, much less AI. I mean, the sheer amount of capital investment needed for these major AI companies doing training at state-of-the-art scale is so high. It's sort of hard to see how can you you need to raise capital somehow, and it's not going to be from donations. That's not going to be enough. Now that they could still remain nonprofit as a top structure. Nobody's donating. But you know what? I'm a customer of OpenAI, and I pay my $200 a month for that top level thing, and it's worth it to me. It might not be worth it to everybody. Is it worth it to companies? Yeah, maybe. It's a very competitive space, but my hope is that as the business model of AI, evolves and emerges, that the trustworthiness of the information you get from AI has got to be a core part of that business model. And I think it will be, because the difference is, if all you're after is as many eyeballs and as many clicks as possible, then truth can somehow get trampled. Like social media companies aren't really that concerned about the truth of what people are saying. They just want people looking. Whereas if I'm going to pay money to OpenAI, and if it's giving me nonsense, I'm going to be like, well, I can make up my own nonsense. Actually, I can get things wrong on my own. I actually want you to help me get it right. And so I think there is a drive towards quality, but we'll see. What's
your biggest fear as a company like OpenAI and other model builders as they really begin to start making profit? Like what's your concern about civilization for information on the internet?
Well, I always say I'm a pathological optimist. I always think everything's fine, but I say that to acknowledge that maybe I'm not the best person to sort of worry about this, that, and the other. There's a recent book is called something like, if anyone builds it, everyone will die. And I'm like, well, that's a bit dramatic.
Is there something else? Wow.
Yeah, and so I don't buy that. I do think what we are going to face as a society, as these changes seem to be coming very, very quickly, is a lot of disruption. And maybe over time, I don't view that we're all going to be unemployed and that's the end of, that we're in this completely dystopian future. But I think we can acknowledge, when we look at autonomous vehicles, for example, there's something like 2 million long-haul truck drivers alone in the US alone. And long-haul truck driving is one of the easier bits. Like you might need a human to drive, take the truck all the way into the Walmart to unload. What are those 2 million people going to do? And they're not necessarily being retrained, and they're not necessarily prepared for, they can't all become coders and so forth. And that's a unionized industry that has some history of violence in the past. This could be tough. So we do need to take very seriously that there's going to be some big disruptions in the employment landscape. Even if you believe, as I do, disruption happens. When the electric light was invented and we didn't need candles all the time, it's not the end of the world, right? People make light bulbs instead, or we need fewer candles, and the candles can be artisan candles that have a nice smell, whatever it might be. Yeah. We will change, we will adapt, but that adaptation will be a period of instability for a lot of people. And so we do have to think really hard about, okay, let's make sure that we're doing things in a way, are we investing in retraining for people? Are we investing in education in the right way?
What is AI moving as fast as it is? What is it doing to trust in the society? Is it already eroding it?
It's hard to say, but yeah, I mean, it's certainly right now, I don't think it's helping a lot. I think it has the potential to help. I mean, one of the things that there's been some studies of people who are quite on the extremes politically, left or right or whatever, when they interact with an AI model and discuss politics, they tend to become more appreciative of different points of view. Okay, that's a tiny study, and I don't know how valid it is, but it seems plausible to me because AI does tell you a lot of different things and so on. And that's different from if you just are going down a rabbit hole where the algorithm keeps feeding you stuff you like already, and so suddenly you never see anything from the other side. So that could help to increase trust in society. At the same time, just the fact that you can create deep fakes and you can create very plausible content that's false, that's a negative. So I think it's going to be a balance as we go forward, and it's probably too early to be sure. I mean, I just think humans are very robust. Like we see all kinds of things, and we adapt and we change. And the world of, I mean, here we are sitting at the NASDAQ in the heart of Manhattan in this like spaceship of a room, and you just think back 100, 200 years ago, what was it like here? Completely different, and yet here we are.
The NASDAQ
we're just people. Yeah, but it was different. It was different. Yeah, they didn't have a space room like this.
I share your view. I'm an optimist too. I always have been. But I'm going to make the assumption here that you and I are not going to be here in 50 years. We're just not. Yeah. Where is Wikipedia 50 years from now? This utility that has embedded itself in the fabric of the internet.
Yeah, I mean, 50 years, I'll be 108, so I've got another 40 after that. I'm very optimistic. I think Wikipedia will be here in 50 years. I mean, we've really tried to build the organization, the finances, the way it all operates. Will it be as popular as it is now, or will we just be, a bunch of nerds having fun writing an encyclopedia, which is what we've always been, And I don't know, but I mean, I do think we are trying to be solid, like people can count on that Wikipedia is going to stay the same. We're not going to suddenly decide, in order to compete, we're going to have to become TikTok, or we're going to have clickbait headlines or things like that. It's just not who we are. Like, it's just not what we do, and we'll just be here being Wikipedia.
Well, it's not often we get access to someone that's helped create the internet, but thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. Congratulations on the new book, 7 Rules of Trust. Wikipedia founder Jimmy Wales. Let's stay in touch, please. Really awesome.
Lovely.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic.
All right, that's it for the latest episode of Opening Bid Unfiltered here at the NASDAQ in Times Square. Continue to hit us with all that love on social media. I appreciate all the feedback. It makes me better at doing these interviews. We'll talk to you soon.